What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean Davis. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe here to the channel. We are here with Mock Draft 3.0. Excuse the background for right now. Remodeling my setup, if you will. So we're currently under construction, but I really want to get this video out there. Got an appointment I got to go to, so we're going to dive right into this. Not going to waste any time here. The Atlanta Hawks on the clock here. Number one overall, the Hawks, after a crazy draft lottery, the Hawks win the lottery. They now get the number one overall pick. We're going to be doing more trades in future mock drafts. I'm not going to do any trades quite yet. But here, number one overall, I'm going to take Alex Sarr. I think this is just a guy that we can kind of start our rebuild with. Because I do think, honestly, getting the number overall pick is going to cause them to just say, hey, look, we're just going to trade Trey or DeJounte. Or if they decide to keep Trey, hey, look, now you have a guy that I think honestly could fit either timeline, because Alex Sarr is going to be such a fun player for both Trey, with Trey, or in a world where they decide just to tear it all down. Now on the clock, the Washington Wizards. I'm still going to go Nikola Topic. But don't be surprised if in future mock drafts, Nikola Topic begins to fall for me, especially if the injury concerns are starting to become legitimate. Nikola Topic went down with another injury to the same knee. I want to say it's his left knee that caused him to miss time back in January. So if he's healthy, he's my number one guard in this draft class currently. But with the injuries, I might have to do some readjusting there. But for right now, we're going to stick with Nikola Topic here, number 2 on the board. Third overall, Houston Rockets on the clock. I feel like this is one of my favorite fits in this draft class. We're going to go Reed Sheppard out of Kentucky, a guy that I think Houston's a really weird team to draft for, and actually Houston's a team that I would expect to just trade this third overall pick come draft night. But if we are keeping the pick here for Houston, then they're kind of a weird team to draft for. This is too high. Like, you can argue that, hey, maybe they want some depth behind Sengun, but this is too high to, like, I'm not spending a top 3 pick on a backup center. You really feel comfortable about their wings. Maybe you want a long-term Fred VanVleet replacement, a guy that can play next to Amen Thompson or Jalen Green. So we're going to go with Reed Sheppard here, third overall. Now, the San Antonio Spurs are on the clock. We're going to take who's currently my third best player on the board. I feel like ESPN, a lot of the bigger news outlets, if you will, are really underrating this guy. We're going to go Ron Holland for me, a guy that I loved Cam Whitmore in last year's draft class. So kind of I do see a lot of parallels in the game. Ron Holland's going to come in day one as a really good defender and a guy that can create. He became way more comfortable with the jumper down the stretch of the season. So I really like this pick a lot. We're going to go Ron Holland here, 4th overall to the Spurs. Pair him next to Victor Wembanyama, and we're going to try to go guard at 8. So we'll see how that goes for us. But Ron Holland goes 5th overall. The Detroit Pistons, you honestly feel, and this may sound weird, I probably rather have the 5th pick if I'm Detroit. They're getting one of the top 3 picks. Now you kind of let the board fall to you. You're like, okay, cool. Now we can maybe just go get the best upside play here while still kind of fitting a need for us, which is some shooting. We're going to go Zachary Ricochet here. ESPN has him number 1 on the board. I just can't justify having Zachary Ricochet number 1 overall. But I will say this, man, I do like his game a lot. And if he's able to become a more consistent shooter, there is some Michael Porter Jr.isms in his game, in my opinion. Like current Michael Porter Jr., not the prospect before all the injury stuff like that. And he's still a really good player, obviously. Number 6 overall. This is, for me, another one of my more favorite fits currently. We're going to go Stephon Castle out of UConn. I think a guy that reminds me a lot of Anthony Black. Again, another guy I really liked last year's draft class. Anthony Black did come out with a higher overall grade for me. But I think Stephon Castle, in a similar way, is going to come in day one, be a really good defender. I actually trust his jumper day one a lot more than I did with an Anthony Black. So Stephon Castle gets to come in here, be a defensive workhorse, and honestly, he has an opportunity to start potentially right away next to LaMelo Ball, be an off-ball player, really smart, instinctive player, and can take the best guard assignment on a night-in, night-out basis. So it's a really good fit, in my opinion. We're going to go Stephon Castle. The Portland Trailblazers here at 7. Let's see. I think with Portland, I'm thinking either a Cody Williams, a Modest Buzelis, or a Donovan Clingan here, honestly. And to be quite honest with you, I think I'm just gonna go upside, maybe. I think I'm going to go upside and take Miles Buzelis. And then I think we take one of the bigs at 14. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to take Miles Buzelis, I think, here at 14. I'm sorry, it's 7. Miles Buzelis to the Portland Trailblazers. I don't feel great about that pick, but we're going to do it here. Miles Buzelis, a guy that I think has a lot of defensive versatility. I think the jumper needs to come around with Miles Buzelis. Some of the finishing ability stuff is a little bit wonky too. I did feel a little bit underwhelmed when I evaluated his tape. Still a lottery pick in my opinion. And I think if he does really blow up in a situation in Portland where I think Portland can give him the time that he needs to develop, he reminds me a lot of Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic. So I'm going to go with Miles Buzelis here at 7 overall. Number 8, the San Antonio Spurs on the clock. I mean, this is a pick that just fell right into their lap. The Spurs are high-fiving, shaking hands. Give me Rob Dillingham, Rob with the shifts, because he is shifty. I'm making the corny ESPN joke that they made on the draft lottery, but I mean, I think he is a really small guard, and that is something that does concern you, especially because of the defensive ability. But we paired him now with Ron Holland, Jeremy Sohan, Victor Wembanyama, Devin Vassell. Like, you have the size now to say, all right, I can kind of ignore some of the defensive concerns now to a certain extent and really try to just invest in the offensive game, where I think offensively, Rob Dillingham is super enticing to me as a player, where I think if you give him a situation where he can become the potential number one lead ball handler, you can get to maybe that Tyrese Maxey-ish type of comp that I did give him. So Rob Dillingham at A1, the most skilled offensive players in this draft class. I'm just going to submit this pick as quick as possible. Donovan Clingan still somehow finds his way to end up here in Memphis for me. This is a pick. He shot the lights out at the combine, which is super fun to see if you're a draft analyst like myself. And again, I really was going back and forth between Clingan at 7. Honestly, that's where I started thinking about Donovan Clingan personally. But ridiculous shot blocker. The ability to stretch the floor is going to be so enticing for me, because I think even though right now I think teams are going to sag off of him, he can still be a modern NBA big because he is a really freaking damn good screen setter. He has the ability to make reads and play make a delay action, which is just 5 out, or be a post playmaker. Not like he's going to get a ton of post up opportunities, I think, at the NBA level, but he has the opportunity to. I love this fit in Memphis. We're going to go Donovan Clingan at 9. The Utah Jazz are on the clock, and you don't know what you're going to do with Lauri Markkanen. So since I don't know what we're going to do with Lauri Markkanen, one of my more favorite fits in this draft is just taking Isaiah Collier here at 10 to the Utah Jazz, a guy that I described just as a tank, built like a running back, quite frankly, from like the neck down. It's insane. One of the best 2-foot finishers in this draft class. It's ridiculous to watch that on tape. He really cleaned up the decision-making and the inefficiency once he got back from injury, which is honestly a really encouraging sight to see for me as an analyst. So I love Isaiah Collier, one of my guys in this draft class. We're going to go with him at 10 overall. The Chicago Bulls are on the clock. And honestly, with the Bulls, I don't know what they're going to do. I'm just going to take Cody Williams because I think Cody Williams can kind of fit both timelines for me. A guy that can really project as a high upside 3-and-D type of wing that has some self-creation ability. I would like to see him shoot the 3-ball a little bit more. And I honestly think pre-injury Cody Williams is probably a top 5 pick. I think he does slip because of some of the injury stuff. But Cody Williams, if I'm Chicago, I'm excited. I'm ecstatic even. 12 overall here for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Look at the board here. I think I'm going to take Tadon Saloon here at 12. Maybe that's a reach, but I'm invested in the upside as a 3-and-D player. Has some athleticism. Not really a guy that can create off the dribble right now, but don't really need him to. Maybe more of a stash. If the Thunder trade this pick, I wouldn't be surprised either. I'm sprinting to get this pick in. One of my more favorite picks for Sacramento here, Jared McCain. Jared McCain, 13th overall here. A Malik Monk replacement that can come in right away and play, in my opinion. A guy that I think is honestly not getting enough credit for his creation ability, whether it's in the mid-range. He's not a high paint touch guy, but when he gets there, he can finish at the rim. and a guy that is going to be a perfect off-ball fit next to De'Aaron Fox because of his ability to be a sniper from distance. So Jared McCain, 13 overall here to the Sacramento Kings. 14, we got the Portland Trailblazers on the clock, and Portland's in a spot where honestly, Portland could be the team that makes the gamble on Zach Edey. And this is what I would do mock draft. And if I'm Portland, I think you really have to consider Zach Edey. I'm going to, I guess, be a coward and not do that. And I'm actively talking myself out of it in my head. I'm going to go with a little bit more of a safer prospect, in my opinion. And I'm going to go with, I love Jacoby Walter here, but I think I'm just going to go Yves Missy. I'm going to be a coward, and I'm just going to take Yves Missy, a prototypical shot blocking, rim protecting, lob threat big. And we're just going to add that into our system. I feel good about Miles Buzelis and Yves Missy there. Got some size in the building, some good athletes too. The Miami Heat on the clock. There isn't a more Heat culture pick than Devin Carter. And I think I'm going to go with that. Honestly, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Devin Carter here. Solidify that backup point guard room with a guy that can create, a tenacious defender, good three-point shooter. I think a lot of my concerns about Devin Carter, honestly, are because he was in a number one role at Providence where you lessen his role with Miami, and I feel really good about him as a prospect. Next up, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to stop the fall of Don Connect here, I think, and we're going to take Don Connect, a guy that is going to come in and be a plug-in fit next to Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid simply because of his shooting. Honestly, could be a Buddy Hield replacement. Honestly, you have an argument for him being better than Buddy Hield. So we're going to go with Don Connect, 16 for the Philadelphia 76ers. With the board falling like this, if I'm the Los Angeles Lakers, we are picking as the Lakers here. So actually, to avoid confusion, we are going to find the Lakers. It's not all right. So just for simplicity's sake, this trade sucks, but we're trying to get the Lakers pick here at 17. So Lakers are on the clock. And if the board falls like this, I'm not in love with the Zach Edey fit. I think it's honestly like a Tristan da Silva here or a Deron Holmes. And I think I'm just going to go Tristan da Silva. I think, never mind. Coward. I'm going to go Deron Holmes. Deron Holmes here at 17. A guy that has a lot of versatility that I think as a lob threat, as a versatile chess piece defensively, that is a really good shot blocker at the rim. I like that. I think he actually has a lot of versatility and ability to play next to Anthony Davis because of his pick and pop threat. Shot was really, really efficient. Shot 36% on pick and pop threes this season and shot, I want to say, 44%, 43%, I think, on catch and shoot threes. I'll fact check that, but I do like that pickup a lot for the Lakers. Next up on the clock, I'm the Orlando Magic. I'm taking Bub Carrington. This might be high. This is the highest I'm taking Bub Carrington. I don't care, man. I love just the raw shot-making ability that Bub Carrington has to offer. And if I'm Orlando, this is a perfect opportunity to get a boom or bust prospect that is freakishly young. Like, he's 19. He's still developing as a basketball player. I don't think he even needs to play right away, which I think is also a fun thing about Bub Carrington. So give me Bub and let's roll. Let's roll, Orlando. I love this pickup a lot for the Orlando Magic. The Toronto Raptors are on the clock. One of my more favorite picks in this class is the Tyler Smith to Toronto. I'm just going to do it here. A guy that has some upside, really big, athletic wing that's going to project here. I like Tyler Smith a lot. I love the fit as well, sending him to the Toronto Raptors. Next up, we are going to take for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We are going to take Tristan da Silva. We're going to take Tristan da Silva here at 20 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. A wing that has some shot-making ability, really good three-point shooter, is a competitor defensively. We're going to just adding more wing depth and more scoring ability from, and honestly just shooting to this team, trying to add to our build around Donovan Mitchell and around Darius Garland. So we're going to go with that pick there. The New Orleans Pelicans are on the clock now, and I'm going to take Kel'el Ware for the Pelicans. Now, I was really kind of disappointed with some of his tape with Kel'el Ware. Maybe I do a film breakdown on Kel'el Ware at some point. But there was a lot of things I just didn't like when I watched Kel'el Ware's tape. I think a lot of people make a big deal about his I don't think it saved the pick about his motor, but honestly, it is very noticeable on film. I think he does have a great size. Like, I mean, he's 7 foot, sure, but in terms of physical stature in the NBA, I do kind of worry about that a bit. And I think day one, he's only going to be able to be used as a weak side rim protector and shot blocker. If you get to the upside, I think you can get to a Miles Turner like player. And I think the idea of Kel'el Ware is what I like more than the player right now, if that makes sense. So we're going to take Kel'el Ware here, bank on some of the upside, and we're probably going to lose Jonas Valanciunas there. So we're trying to add more depth to that room. Next up, the Phoenix Suns are on the clock. And for Phoenix, I'm sprinting to the table for this one. I've been picking like Tyler Collect, but the board kind of fell a little bit differently for me this time. So with the board falling this way, I'm just going to take a guy that's going to be a day one rotation player. I'm going to take Jacoby Walter. Look, I get it. I'm lower on Jacoby Walter. I still freaking love his ability to be a plug and play kind of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope-esque player. My knocks on Jacoby Walter, I don't buy like the pull up or just really the generated shot making ability. And I don't really think you need to either. I think that this is something where he can come in, be a guy that can play in as a role player, which is something this team just needs. They need more quality rotation players. We're going to take Jacoby Walter here. I like this pick a lot if I'm Phoenix. The Milwaukee Bucks are now on the clock. I'm kind of bummed out that we missed out on a Rashawn Holmes. I think that would have been a perfect fit. Maybe you consider Zach Edey, but honestly, the guy I'm going to continue to mock for them is going to be Ryan Dunn. Bam. Ryan Dunn. And I can't wait to finish my draft takes on him, but freak athlete, right? He tested so ridiculously well at the combine for day one, stuff like that. One of the best, if not honestly, the best pound for pound defender in this draft class. It's insane. I love Ryan Dunn. They desperately need more defensive help on the perimeter, but he's also a insane weak side shot blocker. Some of the film that you can find on Ryan Dunn is remarkable. We're going to take Ryan Dunn here at 23 overall. The New York Knicks, back-to-back picks. I actually kind of already have a pre-thought in my head. We have back-to-back picks. So we're going to take some upside here. This isn't necessarily the pick. We're going to go Zach Edey. We are probably going to lose. We are probably going to lose out on Isaiah Hartenstein this summer. So why not go get our replacement for Hartenstein, who reminds me a little bit more of a Zubac, but if he can stretch the floor, he also shot incredibly well during the combine for day one. So we're going to take Zach Edey. And a pick I really like recently is Bacome Didiet. I admittedly got to get to more of my film on him, but I like the raw shot making, the upside ability, the upside that he does provide for New York. A guy that I don't know is going to play year one, especially with Tibbs as the coach, right? But we are going to make that pick. That I feel really, really safe about that one, but just about the upside in general. Next up here, we have the Washington Wizards on the clock. You are really bummed out because, Zach Edey is gone. So with Zach Edey off the board, if I'm the Washington Wizards, I might honestly just take Kyle Filipowski here. I'm just gonna take Kyle Filipowski here at 26, a stretch 5. I have defensive concerns about him, sure, but we're gonna take Filipowski there at 26 to the Washington Wizards, but a guy that can at least add more depth until we can maybe try to add a piece or two in free agency. So that's kind of my logic there for the Washington Wizards. Next up here, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves on the clock. And for Minnesota, we have 2 picks here in the next 10. We pick here 27 and 37. So I'm looking at the board. I maybe consider going backup guard here, like guard for the future, or not even guard for the future, but Mike Conley can't be here forever. And I'm also going to try to add a wing spot here eventually. So I think I'm going to maybe address one of those 2 things here. I kind of like the idea of going Jalen Tyson. here from Cal for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I'm going to try to pull up some of my Jalen Tyson stats here really, really quickly. And I think when I look at Jalen Tyson, with Jalen Tyson, right? And I am trying to find my scouting report on him right now. So bear with me for just a sec. When I look at Jalen Tyson, my grade on him, right? I had a late first, early second round grade on him. Shot 38% on true spot shooting attempts, roughly 40% on pick and roll threes too. Really solid connected playmaker. I like his ability to be a potential defensive player. Quality defensive player, has nice size, and I think he does have some quality upside there as well that I'm going to give him his credit on. So next up, 28 overall, Denver Nuggets. We're going to go with Tyler Kolek. Just get a backup guard in here. Reggie Jackson, I just don't think is the long-term play. So we're going to go with Tyler Kolek, 28th for the Denver Nuggets. 29, the Utah Jazz are back on the clock. And for the Jazz, it's kind of interesting. I think we're going to take another kind of upside play, and we are going to go with, I don't know, it's kind of rough actually. So we're going to go Kevin McCullough, I think. Not really upside, but a guy I think it could be a quality rotation player for us day one. And with the defensive ability, has some injury concerns. He is older, but we're going to go Kevin McCullough. And I think 30th overall. We're going to go Bobby Klitman for the Boston Celtics. So, guys, let me know what you all think here. This is how our first round mock draft ended up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here to this edition of the pod with our mock draft 3.0. I'm going to be having my big board dropping next week. Super excited about that coming out here on the channel. And it's going to be a full just top 30 big board. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know what content you guys like to see from me. Going to do some draft combine reactions as well here in the coming days. So let me know what you guys think. And until next time, everybody, see ya, stay safe, and peace out.